Hello everyone and welcome back to the Keep Productive YouTube channel. On today's feature, we're taking a look at the top 5 common mistakes when choosing productivity software. Now the goal of this video today is to help you make better decisions about the productivity software that you go about choosing. Now it's so important because it will save you lots amount of money, lots amount of effort and huge amounts of time. So hopefully this video you can walk away with a few decision-making practices that you can use when picking your next software. So without further ado guys, let's dive into today's video. So just before we dive in guys, I wanted to mention our May 2019 sponsor, and that's Brain FM. You can check out Brain FM below and get 5 free sessions. Now it's an application that will allow you to listen to music for different scenarios. So whether that's sleep, for meditation, and also for focusing, it's AI based and science backed. So it will allow you to design specific music tracks that will help you to increase concentration or improve patterns of sleep, etc. So it's a very interesting application and I definitely recommend you checking it out. If you decide you like it, then use 20% code KEEP to get 20% off all subscriptions, not descriptions, but you can check out all the stuff in the description below. So guys, number 1, the first mistake that a lot of people make is actually looking at an application that is on Product Hunt, that is on Reddit, maybe someone's shouting about it on social media, and just jumping in, signing up, and moving your entire base there. Now, this is something that's called, typically I think it's called the shiny new syndrome, and it's because it's shiny and new that you look at it and you go, wow, this is awesome and really attractive. We've seen this in the last couple of months with the likes of Notion. A lot of people moving there and then actually going, actually it's not suitable for me. It doesn't have the features I need. I was just sort of listening and looking at it as a gorgeous application, not actually necessarily looking at the feature set, the pricing, all the information that you need to know before going in. So this sort of shiny new syndrome is something that can be a big mistake when you get started. And the way to solve it is really to spend time with an application before you actually do it. I know it's a very generalistic thing, but actually sitting there, seeing a new app and going, I admire it, but I'm going to spend time to check it out at the weekend, save it for later, put it in something that, read later list or a Todoist inbox that you might look at later. Because that period of time that you give yourself before jumping on board with an app will really help you to work out whether it is suitable for you. Number 2 sort of correlates to what I was mentioning before, and that's missing features. This is a real common mistake when it comes to choosing a new productivity software. Now, a lot of people, what they do is, they get that shiny new syndrome, or they look at an app that a colleague has recommended, but they don't actually check out the full feature list. And that could be anything to invoicing inside of an application, or commenting abilities, or having the ability to set a recurring reminder. And they've commonly used that in the app before they've transferred to this new app. And they get a couple of weeks in, or even a day or two in, they've moved all their data and they go, oh my God, it's missing a feature that I most need or that my company needs. And they then have spent a lot of time moving over. So make sure you check out the full list of features before you go ahead and move on. You can normally find this on a company's feature list website, and you can even direct message the support if you're looking for a specific feature or wondering whether it's going to be added in the future. A lot of companies have what's called a timeline or a roadmap, which help you see where they're going to be adding a specific feature in the future. For example, you might be looking at, Evernote, and actually whether they're going to have a stronger search in the future or search on web. And you might be able to find out from some of their videos or resources that it might be coming soon. Number 3, and that is the background and the ethos of the company. Now, this isn't a vital one. This isn't something to necessarily worry about when choosing a productivity software, but we've seen a lot of applications be acquired. We've seen a lot of applications go out of business just based on sustainability of the app because they necessarily can't make the money to continue in the future. So it's important to understand what the company is about, where they put their money, and whether they're backed by other investors. Now, a lot of the time, if they're VC backed, it normally means they have a good runway period of time with money. But it also needs a little bit of checking out and research of who those investors are and where they're spending their efforts. Now, also, you can check, Are the company in line with your values? For example, one of the reasons I use Todoist so eagerly is because I believe in a lot of their philosophies, values, and a lot of the sort of not pro bono, but the opportunistic articles they write, the videos they produce, because I want to learn more about productivity as a whole. So I guess companies that put more attention and time into helping you as a collective person, and not just necessarily like software, that always is something good to look at. But this isn't, again, a major thing, but it's just something to note. Be aware of who the company, who the developer are that you're investing your time and attention into, and whether they'll be there in the long term. Number 4 is full migration. Now, of course, when people move over to a new productivity software, they tend to just move their entire base over. And a lot of the time, there's specific tools or features or even Chrome extensions that allow you to transfer all of your data into an application. We saw this, for example, with the likes of, moving from Wunderlist to Todoist. There's an integration for that. And of course, you have a lot of tools that allow you to move all your data. But there's 2 things to note in here. The first is whether that tool is reliable and transfers the data across fully. For example, something to pinpoint is if you've emailed into your Evernote in the past and then you go ahead and migrate over to Notion, for example, you might not get that email in full. It comes up as a weird sort of table database. And just note that might be one of the bad things about the migration abilities when moving across. And the second thing is, why do you need to move everything across in one big move? I would spend time with an application. A lot of the time, I try and typically spend 90 days with an application before I move, if I'm moving, because it gives you that time period to move stuff over gradually as you need it. And also create new bases in this new application ready for you to move over. And that's typically what I recommend. Although you can do the full migration, just be aware that the tool or migration manual that you're using is fully compromisable, connectable with it, because else you will lose data and it can be dangerous for all of that useful stuff that you're bringing across. Number 5, and this is the final one, and it's actually understanding the need for the tool. Now, a lot of the time we have that shiny new syndrome. We have an app that we see and we're like, wow, this is awesome. And then you use it and you look at it and you're like, okay, actually this is like my task manager and my note taker. And then you get confused about the actual apps you're using. So before you go into an application, make sure you've written a list. It could be a very simple paper list of the apps you're currently using and what this new application brings to the table. Now, this is so important because I see sometimes people having 2 task managers, and that can be very dangerous because you're putting loads of tasks into here, you're putting loads of tasks into there. Which ones sort of collaborate? Whereas you could just have one task manager with different projects for different areas that you're working on. So being able to set yourself a bit of a rule set when you're choosing a new application. Where does this new application fit? What does it replace? And how am I going to use it? And that's very, very important. Now, what I would do is look whether an application replaces 2 of the apps you're using or just one of them, or whether it's actually even necessary in the first place. Am I duplicating an existing process? Am I making it more complicated for myself? So guys, those were the 5 recommendations for common mistakes and how to avoid them. Hopefully this video helped you out. Let me know in the comments below whether it did. If you found it valuable, hit the like button. And if you're new here, subscribe. And I do apologize because I'm doing a lot of the videos in the bedroom at the moment. And that's mainly because the front room is totally covered in boxes, and it would be worse looking as a scenery. But guys, I really appreciate you stopping by today. Make sure to have a great week, keep productive, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Cheers.